Hey, what up, every flop though? This is Stranger Gregory Kerwin or Big Moves. I got another Fault Alpha Weekend 3 gameplay for you guys, another Narbash because I'm a Narbash main. And today I just want to talk about a few ideas, bugs, and issues I had from the Fault Alpha 3 weekend. And a few of these ideas are actually Kryptons. Uh, just somebody I play with all the time. Anywho, so the first thing is the crashing. Crashing was the number one my least favorite thing about the game. Uh, so on the first day, there was a lot of crashing, and this crashing really made the game difficult to play. I do, but it isn't. I was an alpha weekend, and that was one of the points of it. So I have to commend Strange Matter Studios for fixing that and adding another day to basically apologize for the first day with the crashing. Okay, so number two, we're going to talking about everyone's favorite character, Steel. Steel. He was broken. In fact, he was so broken, I was raging constantly trying to kill that man. I was literally watching Steel 5v1 people get a kill and walk out with his life with over half his health. And why was this a thing? Well, first off, his base health is already super high, so he's a tanky man. So there's that. And his scaling seems like it's crazy. I feel like his scaling needs to really start to fall off. It can't be an exponential scale. It feels like the first 20 minutes maybe it should, or a certain level. And then after that, the scaling has to go up a lot slower than it did before. Number two, he has a lot of CC, man. I know that's a part of Steel's kit, and his ult actually is dodgeable. It's a bit difficult, but it is. But I don't know if his shield should have a slow. That would be really the only change I would have, or maybe his stun like 0.2 seconds shorter or something like that, right? Like something really small. And the big thing is he had a passive when no other characters really did, unless you're Greystone, and his passive was that he couldn't be CC'd. I'm telling you when I say it was the most BS thing I've ever played in my life. When you're playing a character with three abilities of CC and a fourth of a slow, and two of them are mega CCs, uh, and he couldn't be CC'd himself, and he's a tanky man that does a considerable amount of damage for how tanky he is. It was tough, but they took out his passive, and he went from 5v1ing people to 4v1ing because he still did a bit too much damage for his CCing. I think this might change once more characters get passives because I really like the direction Strange Matter Studios is going. Is they're trying to make every character broken so that no character is truly broken. I don't know if that makes sense. It just adds more intensity to the game and more fun. The next thing, this is something that Krypton mentioned to me, is Twin Blast. It's just a little small bug. Twin Blast grenades didn't work always. And they never worked when there's different kinds of elevation. So if you were going uphill, downhill, or whatever, or even just if you're on the ground and you're just putting, not even going uphill, but just putting on like the higher elevation. Because like in like the safe lane here, there's like different elevation right there on the right. You could see the grenade just wouldn't connect. They wouldn't connect. And Twin Blast is more of a burst damage character, and when his grenades don't connect, he's pretty trash because he does not have the range that Murdoch does, and his grenades are truly what made Twin Blast arguably the best carry in the game. Another bug I noticed was with Narbash. Narbash has a heal that heals for, let's say, 20, 10 seconds, 10 health per second, we'll say. It does scale up more than that, but 10 health per second, we'll say. And then you got the Or Prime buff. It gives you, let's say, 60 health per second. there was an issue where when you had Orb Prime, you would get 60 health regen, and then if I used my ability to heal me and my other teammates, it wouldn't stack. So what was happening is I would use my ability and I would go from 60 health per second to 10 instead of it should be just added together to be 70. And it was actually an issue where my characters, my teammates were also going from 60 to 10 because my heal was taking priority. I feel like there should be some stacking there. It's just, just a little small bug, blug, blug, blub, 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 uh, that they just need to fix. Uh, my next thing is probably my third biggest thing that needs to change about Fault. We need audio cues. We need notification audio cues for stuff. I need to know when I'm getting hit, and I need to know when I'm hitting people. And I got multiple reasons why that's important. Number one, it makes the game feel more refined. It makes it feel more AAA, and that makes it feel more fun. Number two, sometimes I'm an idiot because I have, instead of having one eye on the minimap and one eye on what's in front of me, I have two eyes on the minimap, and that audio cue literally saves my life. Literally saves my life. Or gets me a kill because I don't realize how much damage I'm taking or how much damage I'm doing. And the number two thing is there is scientific proof out there that audio cues make better gameplay. What I mean is players are better when there is audio cues. So it is a part, having audio will make players better. People will literally start hitting more shots, making better team plays, having better communication because they have better audio. It is proven, and it's just the same thing when you're working. Uh, there's a lot of jobs out there that if you're able to listen to a radio in the background and just bump up to music, you have a better work ethic. It's the same thing when you're playing games. Just audio cues are very necessary. Apparently, Smite, I've never played it before, but apparently Smite doesn't have audio cues. Well, there's a reason why Smite sucks, and that is it. We're better than Smite here, Strange Matter. We're better than Smite, Strange Matter. So please add some audio cues. Make it happen. I know you got a sound guy, and I know he's working on a lot of sound for the characters, but please, for the love of everything that is Fault, get that man to work on some sound for some as audio cues, some kind of notifications. I need to know. I need it to show up on my map, and I also need to hear it. Or Prime was taken. Raptors were taken. You're getting hit. Stuff like that. Maybe not exactly those words, but this next point is something that Krypton mentioned as a bug. He noticed that his Twin Blast, whenever you're trying to grab the River buff, unless you used an ability, you could not grab the River buff. So what I mean, if he just tried to use his basic attacks on the River buff, he was doing no damage to it. But if he used an ability, that would do damage to it, and then his attacks would start doing damage after he used an ability. Just a little bug, just need to be fixed. Next thing was a little bug that I noticed. Sometimes the Raptors. So let's say you went for the Raptors, the other team contested. So you didn't get the Raptors, but they never died either. There were times where when you go back to re-grab Raptors, before you were even walking into the pit, the Raptors would already be hitting you, and you haven't even, let alone you haven't even gotten to the Raptor pit yet, or you have definitely not done any damage. Just a little bug, you don't want to get smoked before you even start shooting. So, there was another thing I noticed. It was a very rare occurrence. It actually didn't happen very often. But sometimes Narbash's thunks would get lost in the universe. They would just, you'd throw them, and basically became uh, particles that just disappeared in and out of existence. Uh, this also could be this also could be that I didn't quite understand Narbash's range because it's been quite a long time since I've played any kind of Paragon-esque game. Uh, but there was a few times where they'd be 2 feet away, and I would clearly hit them, uh, and it wouldn't even connect. Like it would just, I don't know, it just disappeared. The next thing we want to talk about is Boris. Boris was the one and only character in the game so far that was actually not even fully created, and he was not released to the public in Paragon. So Strange Matter Studios went under their belt to make sure that game came in the game because there was a lot of hype behind him, and it's just a fun character. Everyone wants to play it. So because of this, they had to make their own hero kit, and I believe Sylphin did that. He's pretty fantastic for the most part. However, it is very obvious that Boris was by far the worst character in the Fault Alpha 3 weekend. There was no one that competed. I thought Kwong was ass until I saw someone good with him, and there was at no point did I ever feel threatened whenever a Boris came to gank me. And why did I feel like that? Well, Boris doesn't really have a pull. So if you look at Severog for example, right? He is a fast dash, a stun that's broken, but is pretty difficult to hit. But if you hit it, it's broken. He has a home run, and he has his ability that just does ability damage. That's all it does. If you look at Grux, he has a fast dash as well. He has another. He has a pull in that is very good. It can hit multiple people at once. It's actually kind of fantastic. He has a cleave ability, and he has his ult, which makes him so that he goes swinging. Like you don't mess with Grux when he's ulting, when he's in ult mode. You look at Chimera, he has a jump in, he doesn't have a dash, he has a health regen, he has his ability which stun, so he has 2 CCs, and he also does damage, and I forget what his last ability is. Then you look at Boris. Storage has dash, but that also does damage, so that's kind of fantastic. But he doesn't have pull in or stun. And that is a big problem. It doesn't seem like it's a big problem until you try to gank. You try to gank a carry, they're at half health. But, like, how are you killing them? Well, they can just keep walking away. Whoop-de-doo, there you go. And if a carry just happens to have a slightly bit more average speed than a Boris does, well, you're just not killing him. He's just going to run, get on his tower, and now you can't get at him, right? There just needs to be some kind of thing that says, I'm ganking you. There needs to be some kind of ability in his kit that's not his ultimate. It needs to be something that is not his ult, in my opinion, that says, I am ganking you. You're going to be in this fight for at least a second. And I mean like a literal second, just 1 second, right? Uh, yeah, that's it. That could even be a slow, even if he had a slow. You know what I mean? He needs something. Maybe he does have a slow, and I just didn't realize it because I truly never played him because I really thought he was that bad. There was another thing. This is something me and Krypton kind of both agreed on. Between the river buff and the Raptors, there needs to be like a lane like to the right side of it, kind of close to the mid lane. Not this. I have to go around to the outside, to the back end of the Raptors pit, to the front end of the Raptors pit to get to the middle of the mid lane. Or to the tier 1 tower of the mid lane. That kind of sucks. I want there to be a lane that goes right on through, gets me there, gets me right in. There might be map design to try to, but it also just, it makes a lot more walking. And the one thing the Legacy did bad was just the long take it took. But the map design itself was kind of pretty good. So that just, it would be kind of cool if there was just a little lane there. The next thing is elevation in the game is just garbage. So the off lane and the safe lane, they both have elevation, but the elevation is on the same elevation. Like what I mean is when both people are on the elevation, it's the same, so you might as well not even have it in the game. It's the same thing as standing on a floor or on just a different level of the floor. So for the people on that level, it doesn't make a difference. So why is that a problem? Is because when you're in the laning phase and you're both on the same level, elevation's just tossed. And Paragon, one of the things that they did great was they made it so that elevation was a part of the gameplay. You wanted to be at either a higher or lower elevation to have a better advantage. But in this game, there really isn't that. And the one thing it does do, which I don't agree with, is it actually makes it so that it's easier to see when you're getting ganked because the shadow entrances to the jungle are at a lower elevation. And because of that, it was just easier to be ganked. So it'd be like, why can't I use a ward when I'm already going to see when he's coming before he's even coming? You know what I mean? Uh, and it just adds to that thing of get a ward, right? Uh, and it just makes it your job a bit harder as a jungle. I think there just needs to be a bit of a rework there. The next thing is the gold buff. So Krypton personally thinks that there should be a gold buff in the safe lane, and I think with the dual lane will make it more competitive. Uh, and I think he's right, but I think there needs to be more to it. So what I think is every lane should have an objective. Mid lane has their river buff, which is not in a good location for the mid lane, so that needs to be moved. Safe lane has a gold buff. Off lane has an off lane buff, whatever that would be. Because what that adds is adds another level of competitive skill gameplay, and it's an objective within an objective within an objective. So ultimately, the main objective, you get the core. Secondary objective, get your Raptors, get your Orb Prime. Tertiary objectives would be these buffs. And it's just something really small that could change the course of a lane or get you a kill or whatever it might be. So I really think it'd be really cool if every lane had their own personalized buff that would help uh, the kind of characters that go in that lane. Uh, the next thing I got there is Raptors. So what am I talking about with Raptors? Well, the Raptors are great. I love that they add 300 gold or whatever. I really think it's really awesome. That the gold can be shared in between people or whatever it is. However, the one thing I don't like is let's say you die or like some of you die. Well, what? How do you counter Raptors? Well, you don't. Well, and people argue, well, you died. You shouldn't have died. Well, you're right, but I think there could be another level of dynamic to the game where there could be a counter to the Raptors. And what I was thinking about what the counter would be is Orb Prime's a great counter to the Raptors because it's one of those things like, oh, let's go for Raptors. Oh, wait, but the other team's going for Orb Prime. We can't do that. We have to go challenge Orb Prime because Orb Prime is, of course, like the big thing. So in the first 20 minutes, it'd be really cool if there was something in the Orb Prime pit to make Raptors counterable. Because after the first 20 minutes, no one really goes for Raptors, unfortunately. Uh, so it'd be really cool if there was like a counter there, something to kind of balance. So maybe something not as good as the Raptors, because you should get that advantage if you're going for them, but something that will even the playing field, make that change that gap just a little bit, just add a bit more skill, right? And it'll also make it so that no, you're not going to see 5-man people jump into the Raptors because there might be 3 people taking whatever mini prime. Um, I just think that would be kind of cool. Uh, and the last thing I got on my list there is something I just mentioned is the Raptors are pretty much no one goes for Raptors after 20 minutes. Maybe we'll say 30 minutes. Because once you start to get the max level, why do you need gold? Or you get pretty close. Like, who really cares about gold? Well, no one. And that's one thing that I think could be cool. One thing that League of Legends does is once you get a certain amount of dragons, they have an Elder Dragon come out. I believe. I think that'd be really cool if we could have something like an Elder Raptor come out that gives you like a buff. So now it's another counter to Orb Prime, right? So Orb Prime being the biggest thing, and then Elder Raptors being the half thing, or these 3 Raptors morph into one Raptor, and you get the Raptor King, or something like that. Just a little something like that. I think they could also add to it too with Fault being like technically the fault line between 2 universes or whatever. Uh, I don't know if you guys know, but that's like kind of where the lore is at the moment. That's what the Strange Matter Studios development team. That's what they're thinking it's going to be. It might change. It is tentative, but that's what they're going with for now. I think it'd be really cool if they could add something that adds to the fault line, right? I think that'd be really cool. So, uh, yeah, so these are all the points. If you guys have any bugs or issues with the game that you would like, please leave a comment below. And another thing I would also like to mention is don't just be negative. If you got any positives about the game, there's something you think works really well, please, please, please also put that in the comments. It'd be really helpful to the development team because I'm sure there's someone out there that may or may not watch this videos that works on Strange Matter. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and we can keep going. We can keep going. So now we're gonna go to the gameplay. So now we got Narby, Big Bash. He's coming in. I just hit my thunk. I'm using my heel. I'm swinging. I'm swinging. Yeah, but it's a Greystone. Oh, where's my speed buff? Where's my speed buff? Oh, look at that. I hit my thunk even better. And now we're ulting. Bang. Beautiful ult, Greg. I'm very impressed with myself. And he's dead. Skadoosh. Another thing I wanted to talk about. I can't wait to see what Narbash's passive is. I'm actually so excited. So Strange Matter Studios' goal is to give every character a passive. They did say that there might be some characters that it just might not work with. It might not have passives. But what it would do is currently Narbash has 4 abilities, but we can consider his passive as a 5th ability. So trying to give every character 5 abilities, which is pretty awesome. I think that will also add to the depth of a character. Oh, that's a really good point there. One thing I think that can also be added default. We'll start from the beginning. Paragon, Epic Games. They're creating some great characters. Their kits, for the most part, are pretty good. But that's where it ends. They're great. They're not fantastic. I think that the characters need more depth to really, really make them good. What do I mean by that? Well, why do you choose Twin Blast over Murdoch in the safe lane? Seriously, why? They both do relatively the same amount of damage. Their kit's slightly different, but for the most part, that's all they're doing. They're just doing damage, right? And that's what all safe lanes are going to be. But there's just like it needs to be a bit more than damage. Why would you choose a Twin Blast over a Murdoch in certain comps? Like, so at the high level, they'll really, really use that out. So, for example, we'll just say in this, right? So you're facing a Murdoch, Bellica, Kwong, Chimera, Greystone. Why did Krypton choose Twin Blast instead of choosing Murdoch? Why isn't Murdoch better against... What would make Murdoch better against this comp than, let's say, Twin Blast would be? At the moment, there's nothing. It's really just about that Krypton feels more... He just feels like he's better with Twin Blast. And that's not a good enough reason. There needs to be something that really separates the two. And that's what I'm talking about with depth. Excuse me. All right. And another thing I just wanted to mention, talking for 20 minutes gets my throat dry. I'm going to need to bring some water beside me because I keep muting my mic because I feel like I'm about to cough. Anywho. As you can see, we're 21 minutes into the game. We're starting to win now. We're kind of dominating. The other team is going to have it rough. I'm pretty confident we win this game. Oh boy, look at that thunk. Oh, close your eyes, avert your eyes. Get out of here, Murdoch. Murdoch must not be hitting his shots, because look at Krypton. He's just walking away. Oh boy. Bang. That was actually some really good range. I didn't realize he had such good range. That was like quite fantastic. Huh. Anywho, guys, I think I'm going to end the commentary here because I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And, well, I'll see ya. And I'll put the sound back for when I stop talking. Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks, man.
I feel like they keep taking Raptors, getting ahead.
An enemy has been slain.
Don't cheese so much, bro. I just ulted. Wrong button. Good job, Greg.
What do you think, Prime?
They want to go to Raps. Raps are up in a second. I'm gonna just lane him out, phase me, whatever it's called. Oh yeah, I don't have my ult.
Enemy has been slain. Has been slain. An ally has been
That
slain.
fucking blue cock.
Double kill.
Big girthy fucking Johnny Simmons dog.
An ally has been slain.